fellow Americans, good afternoon. Today, I would like to speak to you about fundamental reforms to our nation's educational system and how inexpensive, common sense ideas can radically improve the quality of education from kindergarten through college. Now, our students are poorly educated today because we don't pay the public school system to educate them. We pay the public school system to graduate them. Districts, schools, administrators, teachers, all the money that we spend is based on the number of boxes we put on the assembly line and ship out the door. And as things currently exist, the money doesn't care whether what's inside the box is beautiful, rugged, or well-made. The money doesn't care if the product inside the box is broken. The money doesn't even care if there's anything inside the box at all. All the money cares about is that boxes go out the door, period. The American public school system was once the envy of the world. Even as recently as the 1960s, American students led the world in math, science, and engineering scores. That public school foundation was the bedrock for the American economic miracle, skills and educations that lifted this country and eventually the entire world into health and prosperity unimaginable just a century ago. You can see the direct result of a once great public educational system in the 6 American flags planted on the moon. Budgets for the U.S. Department of Education have continued to rise as educational results have continued to fall. It's a direct correlation, and I don't think it's a coincidence. We spend more money than almost every developed country in the world, and yet we continue to come in 17th or 23rd or 27th in various international rankings. It's unacceptable. We cannot continue to lead the world in innovation in the information age with students who do not often break the top 20 in relation to other countries. Therefore, I'm proposing that we completely restructure and radically shrink the Department of Education, not to deprive students of an education, but on the contrary, to make sure that every American gets one, and one worth having. In place of one Department of Education, imagine 50 of them, each state trying new methods and old ones, each state competing with each other to find out what works and what doesn't. Or imagine nearly 14,000 local departments of education, one for each school district in America. What would the results of such a restructuring be? Well, currently, we spend as a nation, on average, nearly $13,000 per student in America. Now, that money, of course, is not attached to the student. It goes to the various school districts. But what if it was? What if we spend the same amount of money, but allowed the parents of the student to decide where to get the best education? What would that look like? How would things be different? Well, first, it would add discipline. And we have to face the hard fact that so many of the problems in today's schools, especially those schools most in trouble, are due to a complete breakdown of discipline. Many of our teachers face not a classroom, but bedlam, howling, screaming, disruptive children who insult, harass, and even assault them. We simply can't tolerate this. How many children are robbed of their education by the actions of 1 or 2 students who face, at worst, a timeout? How much violence is tolerated? How many hours are wasted? Every student in America should have an opportunity to get a free high school education, but that doesn't mean they have the right to deprive other kids of theirs, as happens every single day in classrooms throughout America. Suspensions and expulsions of serial troublemakers are not acts of cruelty, they're acts of kindness. And that discipline needs to extend to teachers as well as students. Too many bad teachers stay in the classroom or are on paid suspension because powerful teachers' unions put the welfare and continued employment of bad teachers ahead of the needs of good students. Now, secondly, we need to diversify. Our public school system is so badly corroded today that it simply can't be repaired in a month or a year or perhaps even a decade. Until then, we'll need to diversify the means of getting an education. Private schools, homeschooling, and charter schools are existing parallel structures that are outcompeting our public school system, and they're not only not being rewarded for their better results, they're being punished for it. By attaching education money to the student rather than the school, we get the miracle that gave us the smartphone and the commercial jetliner: competition. Now, third, we'll need to decertify to make it easier for a person to become a teacher. And we have to do this because in order to save our dying educational system, we have to connect it to the single greatest untapped resource in America today. And that's not oil or natural gas or lumber or mineral reserves. America's greatest untapped natural resource is its retired people. Think about it. Who would you rather have teaching chemistry to your child? A 22-year-old with a degree in education or someone with 50 years as a chemical engineer? Our retired people have earned their rest, and certainly no one is under any compulsion to return to work. But I think just about all of the retired people that I personally know would jump at a chance to put in a few hours a week, passing on the irreplaceable skills and knowledge and experience wrought from a lifetime of hard work for a little extra income. We have in America today what may be the worst educated generation in American history on one hand, and the hardest working, most successful and skilled retired generation on the other. It's a crime. Actually, it's almost a sin not to put these two things together, and quickly. And finally, we must demand that schools once again become places of learning. Just as we cannot tolerate our schools being graduation factories, we must also reject those who value indoctrination over education. There's no place for politics or social engineering in our public school system. We have a system in place for teaching values to our children. They're called parents. There's barely enough time in the day to teach children the science, math, English, music, athletics, literature, and art in the world as it is. Saddling them with partisan ideology is not fair, it's not productive, and it's certainly not education. As with so many of our problems today, the solutions are simple, small, local, and inexpensive. But we cannot hope to be a great nation without well-educated, disciplined, civilized citizens. Getting us back on that path must be our top priority. My fellow Americans, thank you for your time. God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America.